Men in your 30s, what is your take on dating women 10-15 years older?
Our age gap is 11 years. We get along fine. We have been together almost 10 years now. Best relationship ever. She knows what she wants and does what she wants, and same goes for me. Done it. Highly recommend.
A. Less bullshit. Less attention seeking. Less playing games. More independence life experiences. More realistic expectations for life in general. Less dependence on daddy. And
married to a woman 16 years older than me. Best decision I ever made, especially when it comes to parenting.
They're easier to deal with than girls that are younger.
Men that have been in long-term relationships but never married. How did it turn out?
I think the best marriages happen when the people involved actively discuss marriage. So my suggestion is you go talk to her about this. Sometimes you have to discuss the big stuff.
She changed her mind about having kids because of your family and wants to with you. It really hinges on whether you want kids with her too.
We didn't want kids and we didn't want to get married. Well, I didn't want to get married and she didn't want kids. With time, she ended up wanting kids and I felt ready to marry her. It's like her or nobody. We got married, and if kids happen, it will be good.
What is your most brutal rejection?
Not mine. I just witnessed it, a late 20s girl working in the theater being propositioned by the creepy old projectionist. I'd rather be stranded at sea with a boatload of greasy Armenians.
I've never met an Armenian. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But this was the funniest thing my 17-year-old self ever heard.
I was 5'8", 124 pounds, and she said I don't date guys that wear the same size jeans as me.
I'll say she saved you the hassle. There are women who are into Naruto and other animated shows just like you.
The ones who judge you for liking what you like will never give you the peace you're looking for while you are with them.
Shouldn't have been wearing that headband, bro.
Men that had an unplanned pregnancy with a girl they're not in love with. How did it turn out?
Man, lots of sad stuff in here. I guess I'm the exception and not the rule.
Casually dated and she found out she was pregnant. Got a prenatal paternity test and found out the kid was mine, so she moved in. We figured we should give it a shot.
That was just about 10 years ago. Our kids are 9 and 5, and we've been married 7 years.
Been 25 years of hell having to see that woman. She is a horrible, toxic person. Love my son, though.
My dad had one, and let me tell you, my life hasn't been easy.
What does hating yourself feel like?
It's a lack of love from anyone else. Women are told they are valued and loved. They receive compliments.
So when you're feeling down and unhappy with yourself, it's easy to spiral into a hatred of yourself. It's looking in the mirror and seeing someone else. It's despising how you act and who you are. I'm good, by the way. I've just been there in the past.
When an airplane accelerates, is the air pressure in the back of the plane higher than in the front?
A helium balloon in a vehicle will move forward as the car accelerates, due to the air being pushed towards the rear of the passenger compartment, displacing the balloon forwards.
This illustrates that the air contained within the vehicle is subject to the same forces as the occupants. What instantly makes someone unattractive?
Zero accountability for their own actions. Always playing the victim.
Making social media presence a priority.
Being mean or rude to animals, other people.
Cruelty to animals.
Hijacking conversations and only speaking about themselves.
Bad breath. When alcohol becomes their whole personality. Trying to tell me how much they make or how fancy their car is, etc.
When she can only talk about exes. Experienced this last week. She went from a 7-10 after an incredible date to and she decided to talk about my flaws all the time.
As in, what she said that my flaws are and what my mental problems are. Lol, so yeah, that was that?
Bad-mouthing others who are not present to address it.
Is anyone here over 50 regretting their decision of not having kids?
Not having a child is not something people usually regret because they don't understand the actual feeling of being a parent.
The ones that tell you that you will regret it are parents themselves who know the feeling of having a child. Myself, I think it is the most amazing feeling you can have in your life.
I wouldn't change it for anything, but I wouldn't regret if I didn't have it because I wouldn't understand what I was missing.
I regret a mistake that led to me being a parent.
I'm 55 and happier about my decision every day.
For the first time in 11 years, I'm not packing my husband a lunch after an argument.
Perhaps this can be a moment for him to realize how hurt you are, and for you to be able to truly communicate how his actions are affecting you. I hope you have a good morning. Up.
Or at the very least, a good conversation.
He was dismissive, hurt your feelings and ignored you, and you feel bad about not packing him a lunch.
Please give an update. There is no way he can treat you like that. I hope he sees how hurt you are and puts in more effort, just based on what I'm reading. He doesn't try nearly as much as you do.
Don't pack his lunch. That's it. Test that.
I don't want my autistic sister to be at our birthdays anymore. Please help me out.
Draw the boundary and enforce it.
Are your parents not getting her therapy and treatment now that she's out of school age? You're allowed to have a drama-free, yelling-free birthday or other event without her ruining the gathering.
As a pereducator who is also autistic, I can say with some confidence that your sister doesn't want to attend your family get-togethers.
I work with a lot of kids who hate noise despite being loud themselves. Most of my kids get extremely irritated when anything different happens, like attending a birthday party.
I would ask your parents what they are trying to accomplish by bringing your sister to events where she is not wanted and where she doesn't want to be.
My friend 17F is talking with a pedophile. That's someone you should tell an adult about. Make sure she's safe and let someone know. A trusted teacher or anyone who will take you seriously.
Inform your school counselor ASAP.
Told me how she made out with a cop and asked if it was wrong. Then she saw my horrified face, and she knew it was as well as me telling her. She stopped talking with creepy older men after that, thank God.
Based on your friend's denial, I would totally inform an adult of the situation. Not to be annoyingly opinionated, but your friend's denial means she is a prime target for more creeps. The laughing about it is a coping mechanism. I would also vote telling someone their family might be a good idea, and so could school if you're still in high school.
Please let someone know.
Got cheated on a haha.
My guy, I'm sorry. The hardest part is coming to the realization that the person you thought you knew isn't that person at all.
People will tell you to move on, and you will, and you'll find peace with someone. But those scars are permanent, and it's a piece of you lost forever. My only advice for future you:
do your best not to let this negatively affect the early stages of a future relationship. Give someone time to build trust back up and communicate. Always communicate.
Racism in the US has turned me into a bitter, hateful person.
Moved to New Jersey. Even in my high school that was in a Republican town, that wasn't happening. PA is known for being backwards as fuck.
People are terrible.
You have every right to be upset. Shit, I'm white and bitter about it too. Used to live in the UK but married and moved to the US. I can't wait to be able to move back home to London.
I miss the multicultural community. Since being here, my social anxiety has worsened. Confidence has plummeted and I've become uninterested in everything. People are shit.
I don't feel accepted here either despite constantly trying to fit in.
Hate is the poison you end up drinking while wishing upon your enemies better than those that mistreated above them and take the high road.
I F20 went through my sister's F12 phone, and what I came across was really horrifying. Now I don't know what to do.
I'd start by telling your mom and stepdad about her accusations about being molested and raped. Those are easiest to frame as you are looking out for her best interests and want to loop them in.
Then let them take it from there. I think you should tell your parents. They can let on someone else came across her YouTube. She doesn't have to know it was you. I can't imagine your parents will be too pleased about the snooping, but I feel in the long run they might be really grateful that this account behavior was flagged with them early on.
For all you know, they may have been monitoring her online views already.
How special is mathematical uniqueness?
There isn't anything hidden in the term. It just means there is one thing satisfying the given properties. There is only one real number satisfying x to 4. It is unique.
There are multiple real numbers that satisfy by to 4. They are not unique.
See the subtle difference between the 2.1. The solution of x lies in set A. I have an element of A to the solution of x lies in the singleton set A. I have an element of A.
In the first, I may or may not have the solution. In the second, there is only one choice. So I have the solution.
In some classes of problems, it may be easier to generate candidate solutions and to employ uniqueness to narrow these down to the correct one.
Why are submarines and torpedoes blunt instead of being pointy?
WW to sub spent most of their time and nearly all speed transit time fully surfaced on diesel. As such, a standard bow was most efficient.
Modern nuclear and ape subs spend much more time submerged and transit submerged, so a spherical bow is a better choice.
In addition, modern subs and torps have spherical sections, sonar and hydrophone gear behind the prow.
Can the body reabsorb the water contained in the bladder if you become dehydrated while abstaining from going to the bathroom?
No, the bladder is lined with cells which form a waterproof barrier. Remember, urine is water with dissolved waste in it. If you absorb the water, you'll be absorbing the waste as well.
This would be a fairly counterproductive process, making more work for the kidneys. The flip side is that in extremes an overfull bladder will rupture.
Do lakes have a minimum depth for a given surface area?
On a slightly related topic, does anyone know a location where it is possible to stand in the water? Depth less than 1.5 meters, but where there is no dry land or vegetation visible above the surface.
Basically, is there anywhere in the world where you can stand in the water and have nothing but water visible out to the in a lake or any other type of body of water?
No. Remember that evaporation takes place based on several environmental factors. If the air above the lake is nearly 100 saturated, then there will be very little evaporation, none at 100.
Air pressure also alters the and weather are the biggest things that controls a lake's depth.
What's something you were told you would grow out of but never did?
Being short?
Gaming.
Social anxiety. It only got worse.
Cartoons.
The punk gothy culture of the 90s, 2000s era, 30s and still rocking it.
Procrastination.
Video games and metal music.
On my 10th birthday, which was Pokémon themed, my parents mocked me and said when I was an adult, I wouldn't even like Pokémon anymore. Well, I'm 29 now and still love Pokémon.
My aversion to most social events, Legos, never gonna happen. At least now I get to share it with my kids though.
Cartoons are better as adults anyway, because we can finally understand all the references we missed as kids.
My third grade crush.
Acne.
Would you ever date anyone with kids?
Maybe grown kids, independent adult children. In this economy, no.
I've dated people with kids. You get to play dad for a year or two and then just like that. When the relationship is over, you're not a dad anymore. Brutal.
Yes, but my wife hates it when I tell people that she and I are dating.
When I was my 20s and 30s, absolutely not. As I got into my 40s and still dating, I realized most of the women I was going to meet in my age group would probably be single moms.
So I dated a single mom with a 10-year-old. It wasn't that bad. I understood the child always came first. And once I understood that, I was good.
No, I don't like kids.
If you could give me only one secret to improve myself, what would it be?
Discipline, discipline, and some more discipline. Consistency is key. Start something small, but do it every single day and watch that skill grow.
Take full accountability of whatever happens in your life is all up to you.
Education is not a thing you can complete. You only can stop.
Be kind always as far as you can without getting taken advantage of. Be a force for good and the kind to others. They will remember kind to yourself, most importantly.
Don't leave the important stuff to later. Do it now. Put your work before your comfort.
Be your own best friend.
Explore why you feel bad anytime you have a negative reaction to something. Try to explore the reasons why.
You're offered $200,000, but you can't use the internet for an entire year. How do you keep yourself occupied?
I think I would spend most of my time reading and playing single-player video games. Wouldn't be too bad, I don't think. Mostly irritating not having all the answers I need at my fingertips.
Reading, TV, radio, all the stuff I used to do before the internet.
Do I get the money up front? If so, I'm traveling. No internet means I can't work. So I'm going places. My work requires the use of the internet. So I guess after being fired, I'd spend my time reading newspapers to find a new job.
I grew up in the 90s. A year without internet is a cakewalk.
What are some unusual types of toxicity you're experienced from friends, family, or partners?
Jealousy. Some people can't celebrate the achievements of others.
The way experiences and emotions are being played down and ridiculed, invalidated.
Positivity. Toxic positivity in regards to my depression. I'd get comments like, "There's people who have it worse. What do you have to be depressed about?" etc.
I understand PPL want to help, but that is not the way to do it. It's incredibly dismissive and counterproductive. People seem to get real preachy when you express signs of depression.
No one ever just listens, and suddenly everyone's a therapist.
Rich people with 1 meter. How did you get rich?
The oldest, easiest way, inheritance, and I said yes to my fiancée.
Saved the first $1.50, invested as much as I could for about 25 years till it built up to that. Lived below my means, didn't try to keep up with others, prioritized savings, stayed out of debt.
10 luck, 20 skill, 15 concentrated power of will, 5 pleasure, 50 pain.
I married a millionaire.
Only 8.8 of Americans have more than $1 mil in assets. So I expect about 72 of Reddit to come in and tell to how they did it.
Guys, it's normal for you to offer a ride home to girls you are not interested in.
I offer rides to anyone just because I enjoy driving. I don't have to like a girl to drive her home even if it takes more time for me to get back. Depends on the person though. It really depends on a lot of my friends. We generally share the responsibility of making sure everyone gets home safely.
So we rotate who drives, and there have been times I, or one of my other friends, have driven strangers, people we just met home.
An hour-long ride out of my way would only happen for someone I wanted to spend some time with, either a good friend or someone I was interested in.
Yes, just being nice. In high school, I literally offered rides to everyone who lived in my neighborhood.
What's a job or profession you absolutely wouldn't do?
Slaughterhouse worker.
Coroner.
Medical doctor.
Teaching at any level.
Politician. I find it hard, if not impossible, to lie to people. The only purpose of a lie is to hurt people. Work for a tobacco or pharmaceutical company.
I could never within a slaughterhouse.
Anything related to health that will give exposure to other people's animals' pain. Or gross things: doctor, nurse, dentist, vet, etc. Law or economics, they look to soulless for me.
Sales.
Septic tank pumper.
Prostitution or a cop.
Speed cop.
Serve food. The entire industry is just bad.
Hot tar roofer.
Anything in an abattoir.
Every job that allows my physical presence.
People with a salary of $100,000 or more. How did you get to this point?
Long career in IT and InfoSec.
Engineering degree. Off to live abroad teaching English for almost a decade. Came back with soft skills. Got an engineering gig. Showed a knack for getting technical people moving in the same direction. Got into industrial project management.
Pharmacy. I'm afraid there isn't an easy path to wealth. For the most part, you have to put in the work.
Live in Los Angeles. Genuinely make over $100,000 and I'm still being bled dry by apartment rent.
What is an obvious lie that people keeps believing in?
Go to a casino and you'll hear people talk about being due to win or a number is due to hit. It's not.
That people with power are smarter than everyone else.
I'm doing good, you.
That people really believe that you eat 7 spiders a year in your sleep. The story was an experiment from National Geographic on how quick misinformation can travel.
That carrots make your eyesight was started by the British Air Ministry during WW2, so that the Germans didn't realize that the British discovered radar.
The Brits said that they fed their pilots a large amount of carrots to give them exceptional vision.
Scientology.
Redditors with younger co-workers, what was your I'm officially old moment?
When I fell down the last couple of steps on a stairway, no one pointed and laughed like I expected. Instead, they helped me up and asked me if I was okay. That's when I knew.
When they say you look great for your age like did, they were complaining how hard and awkward it is to meet women on Tinder. I asked if they ever had to call a girl at home and her dad answered the phone. They were horrified.
Another time one of my guys asked what a payphone was. We worked at a phone company.
I'm in IT. Co-worker needed to borrow a serial cable. The cable was older than the co-worker.
What celebrity does everyone seem to think is attractive, but you don't?
That Maroon 5 singer.
Apparently Pete Davidson.
Drake.
Kylie Jenner.
Ice Spice.
Justin Bieber. He honestly looks like a high school douche to me. Magazines and the media will claim Bella Hadid is the most beautiful woman in the world. I find this ludicrous, as she's literally the most average woman I've ever seen.
Someone pointed out that Leonardo DiCaprio's head is rarely large for his body, and now he just looks like a bobblehead to me.
Emily Ratatouille.
Pete Davidson.
Chrissy Teigen,
Channing Tatum. Looks like a toe with ABS.
Any of the Kardashians.
Timothy Chalamet.
Kim Kardashian.
What's something you can't tell your partner for fear of upsetting them?
The first piece of jewelry I bought my wife was a necklace. We went on holiday and she lost it.
I said I would replace it, but it wasn't the same. She was upset that she'd lost it for sentimental reasons. I emailed the hotel and of course they hadn't found it.
So I bought a replacement and told my wife they found it.
His favourite dip is like 80 mayo. He has a terrible aversion to mayo. His mum has made it when he's not been around his whole life. And now I continue the charade. It's a really good dip.
I daydream wonder what it would be like to live completely alone. How I wouldn't have to compromise.
It was me who cooked with oil and didn't clean the spatters off the stovetop, not the cat.